looks like we're good to go, but it's not 6:15 yet, so if you can hear this, just wait a few minutes, we'll be starting. Do maybe a couple nigunim while we're almost heading to 6:15. That's a melody without words. Yai nai na nai nai, yai nai na nai nai, yai nai na nai nai nai, yai nai na 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 nai nai, oh yai nai na nai, yai na nai nai nai, nai na nai nai, yai nai 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 nai, nai na nai nai, yai na nai nai nai, nai na nai nai. Yai nai 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 nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai 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 nai nai nai, oh yai nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai, nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai, nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai, nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai. Bim bam, biri biri bam, biri biri bim bam, biri biri bam, bim bim bam, bim bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim bim bam, bim bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, biri biri bam. Biri biri bim bam, biri biri bam, bim bim bam, bim bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim bim bam, bim bim bam, bim 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 bam. The first one was the Krakow Nigun, written by Shlomo Carlebach when he was in Krakow, moved by the spirit of the city and all that it had been through to write that Nigun. And the second one, Biri Biri Bam, written by my teacher, Bon Yeshua, from Hebrew Union College. He's originally from Russia. Okay, we're going to go ahead and begin. And everybody needs an additional soul on Shabbat, especially this week. Especially this week. We had to cancel our outdoor services, for those who might be wondering. Probably very few of you are. If you know that we have outdoor services, and you know that we are in Northern California, you could fairly well assume that we were not going to be having outdoor live in-person services. So, therefore, I moved indoors. And page 1, this additional soul, Yedi Nefesh. Yedi Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedi Nefesh Avarachaman, Mishov Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, Mishov Avdecha, Ya la 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 la, El Ritzonecha, Yarutz לך כמו היה ישתחווה אליי ילה אל מול הדרך. Page 5. Sing a new song to God. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, ספרו בגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, נורא הוא על כל אלוהים, איי כי כל אלוהי העמים אלילים, אדוני שמיים עשה הוד והדר בפניו, עוז ותפארת במקדשו, עבור אדוני משפחות עמים, עבור אדוני כבוד ועוז, עבור אדוני כהוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לחצרותיו, ישתחוו לאדוני בהר הקודש, חילו מפניו כל הארץ, אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, עתיקו דבל בל תימות, יערין עמים במישרים, ישבו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו, איי אל תירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, לשפוט דבל בצדק ועמים באמונתו, All right, how about light is sown for the righteous? Or Zarua, page 8. Or Zarua, lat tzadik, o yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua, lat tzadik, o yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua, lat tzadik, o yishrei lev simcha. All right, Mizmor LeDavid, page 13. There's a line in here that is particularly disturbing tonight. It's there every week, but Kol Adonai Chotzev Lavod Esh, the voice of God hews flames of fire. And when I do that, I actually point to fire depicted in whatever room I'm in. If I'm outside, it's the sun. If it's in here, it might be at the burning bush behind me. If there's a picture of flames in the chapel, if it's there. And that's the fire, that should be the fire within, the fire of God, but it's all too real right now where we are living. Mizmor LeDavid, Havol Adonai bnei Elim, Havol Adonai, Kavod va'oz, Havol Adonai, Kevod shemo yishtachavu l'Adonai be'adron kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod yirim, Adonai al חיים רבים. קול אדוני בכוח, איי 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 קול אדוני בהדר, קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירכירם כמו עגל לבנון ועשיריון כמו בן רעמים. איי 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 קול אדוני חוטב לעבוד אש, קול אדוני יחיל מדבר, יקיל אדוני מדבר קרש, קול אדוני יחולל איילות ויחסו יערות ובהיכלו כולו ומרכבות. איי 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 אדוני למה בו ישב וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. היי איי 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 Page 15, L'chadodi. L'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמעו זכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, השם אותי ורפתי הילה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת מכוון אלך, כי היא מקור הברכה, וראש מכרם נסוכה. זאת מעשה במחשבה תפילה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Bottom of page 17. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. אל יריש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Now you would rise and face the entrance, wherever you may be. בואי שלום עטרת פעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי כלה, l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. l'chadodi לקראת כלה, בני שבת And we say to any mourners in our midst, may God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. And you can be seated. We are on page 19, Psalm 92. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, אמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינון. מזמור נזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Continue silently. Tzadik atamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizkeh, shetulim beveit Adonai bechatrot Eloheinu yafrichu, od yenuvun beseva. Shenim verananim yehu lehagid, Yashar Adonai tzuri velo havlatabo. Page 21. Adonai malach kirut lavesh, lavesh Adonai asitazar, aftikon tevel baltimog, achon kisacha me'az mamata, nasu nerot Adonai, nasu nerot kolam, yisu nerot ochyam. Mikolot mayim, mayim rabim adirim, mishpereyam, adir bamarom, Adonai. Edotecha ne'emnu me'od, levetecha nava, kodesh Adonai, leorech yamim. We skip the Baruch Hu, not being in the presence of a physical minion. We go right to Ma'ariv Haravim, page 23. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bivaro Ma'ariv Haravim. Chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ha'Ma'ariv Haravim. Avat olam Beit Yisrael amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, v'shochbeinu uvkumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha, le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla. Ve'vatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, el melech ne'eman. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha, ve'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. Continue silently. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, שהוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. Page 32. We're going to be doing Micha Mocha as well as Oseh Shalom later to one of the high holiday Nusach tunes to sort of get us in the mindset of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Malchuto bratzum kubalehem, Moshe v'nei Yisrael l'chanu shura b'simcha rabba v'yamru kulam. Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot ozefele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha Chokei hayam lifnei Moshe Ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai imlok le'olam va'ed V'nemar k'frad Yaakov U've'omer chazak mimenu Baruch ata Adonai Ka'al Yisrael. Page 33. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim Me'ata ve'ad olam Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom Ve'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom ve'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. V'osaleni sukat shlomecha baruch ata Adonai ha'parei sukat shalom alenu v'kol Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. And if you wish, you can rise for Vishamru, page 34. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha'shabbat la'asot et ha'shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. And we skip the Chatzi Kaddish, about the physical minyan, and we will turn to our private Amidah, page 37 through 48. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו Amen. Right, and we also skip Kaddish Shalem. And so it's time for a little story about, or biography, about an important American Jewish figure, one that I would dare say probably none of you have heard of. I hadn't really heard of her. But she is cataloged in the book Great Jewish Women. It's like a coffee table sized book. And it was released in the early 2000s, I believe. And Belle Moskowitz was a great influencer of politics. So I'm going to talk a little bit of politics tonight, but nothing about the current election. She was probably the most powerful woman in politics in the early 1900s. She was born in 1877 in New York, daughter of a poor watchmaker from Eastern Europe, but she was very smart, very into school, and she made her way all the way through Columbia Teachers College. And then after that, she wrote plays, arranged museum exhibitions, but what she really enjoyed doing most was advocating for causes. And a big one were the dance academies, which are not at all what they sound like. The dance academies were places where poor female garment workers lived, but they often ended up being taken advantage of and even became houses of ill repute. Now, she found out about these things, and instead of going to the newspaper, she made a deal with Tammany Hall, the smoke-filled rooms in New York, with the owners to make a deal with them to sponsor regulatory legislation rather than give them all that negative publicity. She then started to fight for women's pay, housing, and pure milk for babies. She became very respected not only by labor, but also by business leaders. She became an arbitrator for many grievances because she was really able to see both sides and get people to compromise. Her first husband died, and then she married a community leader named Henry Moskowitz. And through him, she met Alfred Smith, who became the governor of New York. And she actually became his main advisor, helped him implement nearly all of his social programs. And he called her Mrs. M, and he was constantly saying, Mrs. M, what do you think? What do you think, Mrs. M? She also became sort of the kingmaker. She was really the one that, opposite Tammany Hall, picking candidates for the New York State Assembly and the New York Senate. If you wanted to be in those houses, you kind of had to go through her. Tammany Hall grew to hate her, called her various anti-Semitic derogatory names, but the Democratic Party loved her, and she became the chairwoman of publicity for the Democratic Party, the National Democratic Party, because who was running for president that year? Alfred Smith. Unfortunately, he lost to Herbert Hoover, and that was in I believe, the 1928 campaign. And she died at barely 56 years old. But someone you never heard of, a very early, I want to say feminist, but really just a successful, powerful woman, Jewish woman in the United States of America, Belle Moskowitz. All right, we're going to continue now with the Aleinu. Please rise, page 57. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשב אותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחת, אין עוד. כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. You may be seated as now I'm going to read a list of Yortzeit names. And of course, you can do whatever you want at your home. I can't see you, as you know. But those who the anniversary of their deaths fall during this coming time period, we're thinking especially tonight of Matthew Arnold, Rabbi Rockland Baer, Eli Baston, Ethel Baston, Albert Berkovich, Adolf Berkovitz, Abraham Breslau, Ernest Cohn, Nassim Cowan, Nathan Davidson, Arlene Davis, Abraham Elkin, Florence Fogel, Jack Garfinkel, Merle Goldstone, Ben Horwitz, Lillian Simon Jacober, Victor Kramer, Francis Ladish, Joyce Levitch, Harry Lipka, Samuel Isaac Maltz, Adolf Hersku Mantel, Joseph Markovitz, Pushpa Mahutagaram Malingam, Isaac Nagar, Rose Nankin, Eileen Pachevsky, Carolyn Rao, Alexander Rosenberg, Henry Rosenberg, Sarah Scheinberg, Abraham Schneider, Sylvia Edelstein Stern, Doris Sutnick, Minnie Wasserman, Benjamin Wolfe, Samuel Zatkin. We're in the Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period for Edward Berkovich, and the Shiva for Charles Sims, the father of Elizabeth Sims, Brenda Maltz, the mother of Jonathan Maltz, who shares the Yortzeit now with her husband, Jonathan's father, Samuel. And we also offer our condolences to to the great aunt of Frankie Wall, Mirel Sir. The memories of all of them are with us. We ask all those who are in mourning or observing Yorkshire, anyone who wishes to join me in the mourner's cottage. It's on page 61. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechonu v'yomechon v'chayechot Beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekutsha barichu La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damirad ve'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imroma hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Zichronam livracha, may the memory of the people you're thinking of tonight be a blessing to you always, and let us say Amen. All right, so announcements. Tomorrow service is at 9:30. Steve Steiner will be with me. He'll be reading Torah. Tomorrow night, and honestly starting in the late afternoon, there's a conservative movement-wide Slichot program. All kinds of classes, services, readings. Got to get online to do that. You would have had to have registered, but I believe you still can register even during the program. So that should be good. Slichot actually is the beginning of the high holidays. It's what begins the penitential season on the Saturday night before Rosh Hashanah. And Rosh Hashanah, next Friday night, 7:45, Erev Rosh Hashanah, from the sanctuary. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. for the children's service, 9:30 a.m. for the adult service. Sermon somewhere in the middle there. Torah service live in person outside with TBA teens, smoke permitting, of course. Not we may be able to move into the social hall. And there's no shofar blowing on the first day. Sunday, second day Rosh Hashanah, 9:30 a.m. Shofar blowing. Avinu Malkeinu, the stuff that you can't do on Shabbat. Also, forgot to mention, Susan Simon, through Zoom, will be leading a youth service at 1 p.m. on Saturday as well. So I think that is about it. Actually, there's one other thing I meant to mention during the York site, so I want to mention it now. I forgot to do so. I also think it's important today to remember all those who perished on September 11th, 2001, the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and on the airplanes, and just changed us forever. And we remember them as well now, 19 years later. All right, so for a closing song, I'm actually going to do a couple. You know, I've brought a lot of pop music or country music or independent music into our services during the pandemic. I'm going to do that one more time tonight as well. And then I'll do a more traditional closing song. So it's a song by my favorite group called the Avett Brothers. And I think it was 8 years ago, on September 11th, and that was not a coincidence, they released an album full of hope, really. It was called The Carpenter. And I'm going to sing the title song from that album. It's called The Once and Future Carpenter. And it talks, there are two lines in the chorus, which makes me want to sing it tonight, and also the idea that they were trying to really just counteract the sadness of September 11th with a little bit of hope, even though there's some melancholy in the songs too. We're all in this together, and if I live the life I'm given, I won't be scared to die. I ain't from Texas, but I made my way from Dallas, and I know the lonesome sound is following. I ain't a gambler, but I can recognize a hand when to hold when queens are staring back at me. Once I was a carpenter, and And man, my hands were callous. I could swing a metal mallet sure and straight. But I took to the highway, a poet young and hungry, and I left the timbers rotting where they lay. Forever I will move like the world that turns beneath me, and when I lose my direction, I'll look up to the sky. When the black cloak drags upon the ground, I'll be ready to surrender and remember we're all in this together. If I live the life I'm given, I won't be scared to die. I don't come from Detroit, but her diesel motors pull me, and I followed till I finally lost my way. Now I spend my days in search of a woman we call purpose, and if I ever pass back through her town, I'll stay. Forever I will move like the world that turns beneath me, and when I lose my direction, I will look up to the sky. When the black cloak drags upon the ground, I'll be ready to surrender and remember that we're all in this together. If I live the life I'm given, I won't be scared to die. Life is but a coin pulled from an empty pocket, dropped into a slot with dreams of 7 close behind. And hope and fear go with it, and the moon and sun go spinning like the numbers and the fruits before our eyes. Sometimes I hit, sometimes it robs me blind. It robbed me blind. Forever I will move like the world that turns beneath me, and when I lose my direction, I'll look up to the sky. When the black cloak drags upon the ground, I'll be ready to surrender and remember we're all in this together. If I live the life I'm given, I won't be scared to die. Lishana tova tikatevu, Lishana tova tikatevu, tikatevu, Lishana tova. Shabbat shalom, and see you next year.